Hey, what's up, everyone? I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Today, we'll be talking about Lean Six Sigma, Pareto's Principle, and SWOT analysis. But first, let me introduce my groupmates. First, the Hustlers, Chris Andrew O. Dulye. Next is Isidro Tristan A. Next are the Hipsters, De Leon Frankie Rose K. and Daniela Marie B. Mata. Next are the Hackers, Lacson Ayuri Jerome. And lastly, yours truly, John Anthony T. Asher III. Now, let's proceed. Now, let's proceed to the 8 ways in lean production. But first, let us know what is lean production, waste, and lean thinking. First, lean production is a methodology of increasing the speed of a process within a business by cutting out waste. So, ang lean production po ay ang pagpapibilis ng pagproseso ng isang business sa pagtatanggal ng mga basura o hindi naman kailangan na bagay sa isang business. Next naman po is waste, is any part of business which does not add value. So, ang waste po ay ang mga bagay na hindi naman po nagbibigay ng dagdag value sa isang business na kailangang tanggalin. Next naman po is lean thinking. Originated from its production system, the original ideas were formulated by Sakichi Toyoda in the 1920s and 1930s. So, ang lean thinking po ay nag-originate sa ideas po na formulated ni Sakichi Toyoda noong 1920s and 1930s. But only made the leap to implementation in the 1950s. So, napalaganap lamang po ito noong taong 1950s and up. Next, let's move on po sa the 8 ways in lean production: transportation, inventory, motion, waiting, overprocessing, overproduction, defects, and skills. So, una po muna ay transportation. Unnecessary movement of materials from one workstation to another doesn't add value. So, examples, moving parts back and forth between distant departments because of poor layout. So, unnecessary po yung mga movement or paglilipat ng ibang bagay sa kadahilanan lamang po na hindi po maganda yung layout or yung pagkakagawa ng location po or yung mismong storage. Yan. Next naman po is inventory. Sa inventory naman po, having raw materials, work in progress, or finished goods than needed. Sample po nito ay stocking too many spare parts just in case, causing storage costs and risk of obsolescence. So, sa inventory naman po, yung having raw materials or mga produkto po na hindi pa po tapos or mga sobrang gamit po na hindi naman po kailangan ay magkakos lamang po ng dagdag gastos at risk po ng mga yun nga po sa gastos. Next po is motion. Unnecessary movements by people that don't add value to the product. So, yun. Sa paggalaw po ng ating mga tauhan na hindi naman po kailangan, ay hindi po ito nagdadagdag ng value sa product. Workers constantly walking to get tools or bending to reach materials due to poor workstation design. So, yun po. Sa disenyo po ng workstation nila, kung sila po ay pupunta pa sa isang lugar or hindi po nila or malayo po sa kanila yung mga gamit na kailangan po nila para sa isang workstation, ito po ay magli-lead sa ito po yung walang ina-add na value sa produkto kasi po waste nga po yung pagpunta-punta dito, punta doon. Yan. Next naman po is waste example ng waiting. Idle time when materials, information, or people are not ready. So, ito naman po yung pag-iintay sa, let's say for example, mga materyales, impormasyon, at yung mga tauhan po, hindi pa po handa or hindi pa po marunong, wala pa pong experience, mga ganun po. Hindi po siya nag-a-add ng value sa ating business. Ito po, an operator waiting for a machine to finish a cycle or waiting for materials to arrive. Yan po ang isang example. Next naman po is over-processing. Doing more work or using more expensive equipment than necessary. So, yan po. Pag-over-process or gumagawa po sila ng mga trabaho or ginagamit po nila yung mga mamahaling kagamitan kahit hindi naman na po kailangan or na-meet naman na po yung quota na dami ng produkto tapos gagamitin pa po nila. Ito po yung isa sa hindi nag-a-add ng value sa ating business. Next naman po is overproduction. Producing more than what's needed or before it's needed. Manufacturing 500 units when the customer only ordered 200, leading to excess inventory. So, this overproduction naman po is yung paggawa ng produkto sa hindi naman po kailangang dami or sobra-sobra po yung nagawang produkto. Maglilid lang po ito sa pagkaka-stock or pagkakapuno ng mga storage room o yung sa inventory po natin. Next naman po is waste example of defects. Products or services that are not right the first time, requiring rework or scrap. So, ito po yung mga produkto po nating may depekto na kailangan pa pong ayusin, i-rework or i-process po ulit. Ito po ay hindi rin po nag-a-add ng value sa ating business. Naapektuhan pa po ito. A batch of items needing reinspection because of incorrect assembly. So, kailangan pa po silang i-inspect. So, another waste of time na naman po kasi mali po yung pagkaka-assemble nila. Then, next po is sa skills. Not using employees' full potential, creativity, or ideas. Ayan po. Only assigning repetitive tasks to skilled workers without asking for their suggestions for improvement. So, ayan po. Ang hindi po natin pagka-communicate sa ating mga empleyado ay magli-lead po sa mga repetitive tasks lang po or yung mga repetitive tasks po ay may i-assign lang po sa mga magagaling na trabahador habang hindi po natin tinatanong kung may mga suggestion po ba sila from their past experiences for improvement po. Ayun. Hindi po natin ginagamit yung full potential at creativity or hindi po natin pinakikinggan yung mga ideas nila which na makakatulong sana sa ating business. So, yun po yung waste example ng sa skills. And thank you po.
Hello, my name is Chris Andrew Oduli and I will be presenting the Lean Toolbox. So first, the 5S. So ano nga ba yung nakapasok sa 5S? The number 1 is sort or the series. Number 2 is set in order or the Seiton. Number 3, shine or seiso. Number 4, standardize or seiketsu. Number 5 is the sustain or shitsuke. So let's explain what is the sort. Sort or the series, remove unnecessary items from each area, keep only what is needed. So, sinabi na nga dito, pag sinabi natin sort is alisin natin yung mga hindi kailangan para mas makagalaw tayo na mabuti. Para hindi tayo malito kung ano yung kailangan natin gamitin dito kasi kapag di natin to kailangan, syempre, huwag na natin nilagay yan sa workplace natin. So, the number 2 is set in order or the Seiton. A place for everything and everything in its place. Organize the work area. Each item should be easy to find, use, and return. So, syempre, kapag naka-organize yung gamit natin, is mas mabilis natin ma-access ito, or mabilis natin, mas mapapabilis yung trabaho natin sa paglilinis. Kasi nga, alam mo na kung nasa nakalagay yung mga kailangan mong gamitin sa pagtratrabaho mo. So, sa set in order is may 5 levels. The level 1 is items are placed randomly throughout the workplace. Syempre, sa level 1, kung randomly naka-place yung mga gagamitin mo is mas mapapatagal yung trabaho mo. Level 2. Needed items are safely stored and organized according to frequent use. So, sinasabi lang dito sa level 2, kung ano yung mga lagi mo ginagamit is yun yung mga naka-organize, and yun yung mas madali mo mas magagamit. Level 3. Needed items are outlined, dedicated. Dedicated locations are properly labeled and required quantities are determined. So, dito sa level 3 is maayos na rin yung magiging pagtatrabaho mo dito kasi naka-label na siya and naka-ayos na rin naman. So, mas may improve pa to sa level 4. Sa level 4 is needed items in work areas minimized in numbers and are properly arranged for retrieval and use. So, dito, mas madali mo na mababalik or mas mabilis mo na magagamit yung isang item. Yun. The last one is the level 5 in the set in order. Needed items can be retrieved within 30 seconds and require a minimum number of steps determined. So, dito na yung pinakamagandang process sa set in order kasi imaginein mo, ilang segundo lang makukuha mo na agad yung mga kailangan mong gamitin. Masosoli mo na rin to agad-agad kasi nga sobrang ayos na ayos mo dito. So, mas mapapadali lalo yung pagtatrabaho mo. Number 3 is shine or the say-so. Remove the dirt and grime and keep it that way daily and keep it clean, plain, and simple. Pag sinabi namang shine is syempre yung pag-maintenance or yung paglilinis mo sa mga materials na ginamit mo or sa mga tools na gagamitin mo sa paglilinis. So, syempre, kapag hindi mo to bine-maintenance or hindi mo to nililinis, mali mo, kinakalawang na pala yung mga ibang mong materials or tools. So, kapag gagamitin mo pa lang, tsaka mo pa lang malalaman, syempre, kapag nagkakaroon ka ng maintenance or shine niya, ay malalaman mo na agad na may sira ito or mapapalit mo na siya agad. So, number 4 is the standardize or seiketsu. Develop a standard procedures and protocols for the first 3 rules. So, dito, nagsiset ka lang ng standard sa first 3 rules. Sineset mo na mas maging maayos yung pagtatrabaho dahil nga mas maayos na napapatupad yung first 3 rules. So, the number 5 or the last one is sustain or shitsu. Siyempre, kapag isang beses mo lang yung ginawa, hindi naman yan magtutuloy-tuloy na maganda yung kakalabasan ng paglilinis mo. Siyempre, kailangan mo i-sustain yung mga first na 4 na steps na yon. Kailangan mo maging consistent sa paggawa na yon para mas magtuloy-tuloy yung paglilinis mo sa isang place. Second one is the JIT production or the just-in-time productions. So, ano nga ba just-in-time production? Minimize time, labor, and materials in the manufacturing process. Goods are produced only when are needed. So, sa madaling salita, ang just-in-time production is kapag kailangan mo lang yung isang bagay or yung mga materials, tsaka pa lang siya parang dadating. Ibig sabihin, kapag wala kang magiging sobrang stock kasi kung ano yun lang yung kailangan, yun lang yung dumadating. So, ano nga ba yung goal ng just-in-time production? So, the goal is create a streamlined production process, maintain minimal on-site raw materials, minimal waiting time in production, small batch sizes. So, sa madaling salita, just-in-time production is yun nga, kung ano lang yung kailangan. So, yung goal nito is ma-minimize yung mga yung mga sobra na unnecessary materials. So, ano ba yung mga benefits ng GIT? So, the first benefits is low working capital, very low inventory levels. Syempre, kung ano lang yung mga kailangan mo is hindi ka magkakaroon ng parang hindi mapupul yung storage mo kasi nga kapag kailangan lang tsaka mo lang siya may bibilin or ipapasupply. So, the second one is less space needed for storage and handling. Syempre, yun nga, reduce material handling, no excess stockpiling. So, hindi ka nga magkakaroon ng sobrang dami stocks or walang masasayang sa madaling salita. The fourth one is improve efficiency and cost savings. So, syempre, kapag improve efficiency and cost savings, kapag cost savings, wala ka ng sobrang mabibili kasi walang masasayang, yun nga, makakatipid ka. So, syempre, sa GIT may mga disadvantages din. So, ano nga ba yung pinakaunang main disadvantages? Syempre, kung ano lang yung mga kailangan mo, tsaka mo lang siya binibilin, syempre magkakaroon ka pag may nagkaroon ng problema na kailangan mo na agad yung isang item, syempre may risk na madedelay yung item kasi nga wala kang stocks. The third one is the pull system. Ano nga ba ang pull system? Controls the flow of resources through process. Number 2, replace only what's consumed at the right time. 3 is resources are pulled only when needed, requested. Opposite of a push system. Siyempre, pull nga eh. Kanban in pull system. Kanban, visual signals or cards for monitoring workflow. Used to trigger production or material movement. Help ensures accurate real-time demand tracking, promote efficiency and smooth operations. So, the purpose of pull system, syempre, number 1 is support continuous flow, make one move one, synchronize material and information flow, enable just-in-time production, reduce waste and overproduction. So, parang same lang din pala sila ng just-in-time, ano? So, continuous flow, make one move one. Batch and push processing. Large lot production, forecasted demand, high inventory, manufacturing waste, high efficiency with low system productivity. Continuous flow, make one move one. Small lot production based on consumer demand, low inventory, low manufacturing waste, demand flexibility, high demand productivity. Push versus pull system. So, the push, make all we can just in case. Make to stock production is approximated based on anticipation. So, pag sinabi natin push is gumagawa tayo ng mas maraming stock dito. So, ibig sabihin na mas marami tayong stock sa ating inventory. So, yung kabaliktaran naman nun is yung pull. Make what's needed when needed. So, sa pull naman is madali lang explain to kasi kapag sinabing kung ano yung kailangan mo, yun lang yung ibinibigay, yun lang yung kukunin. So, production is precise. Yun nga, saktong-sakto lang talaga. Based on actual consumption. Yes. Inventories are low, wasted is reduced. Syempre, kung ano lang yung kailangan, yun lang yung binibigay, syempre, wala namang masasayang dun. So, the fourth one is the Kanban. Kanban is the Japanese word for sign, which is an inventory control system used in just-in-time production, manufacturing to track production and order new shipment of parts and material. It was developed by Talichi Ono, an industrial engineer at Toyota. The Kanban system can be thought of a signal and response system when an item is running low. At an operational system, there will be a visual cue specifying how much order from the supply. The person using the part makes the order for the quantity indicated by the Kanban, and the supplier provides the exact amount requested. So, kapag sinabing Kanban is siya yung control system ng just-in-time production. So, parang dito nanggagaling yung information ng just-in-time production kung ano yung mga kailangan na materials.
So, good everyone, ako nga po pala si Louis Jerome Lacson, ang susunod na magre-report. Ang re-report ko po is about Six Sigma. Ano nga ba ang Six Sigma? Ang Six Sigma ay isang pamamaraan o sistema ng papahalaga sa kalidad or quality management system na layunin bawasan o alisin ang mga pagkakamali or defect at pagkakaiba-iba sa proseso ng produksyon. Ang pangunahing layunin ng Six Sigma ay protektong kalidad. Ibig sabihin is pakababa ng posibilidad na pagkakamali sa bawat product o serbisyo. So, let's proceed to the Sigma methodology. We have two methods po. Yung isa po is DMAIC method, tapos yung isa po is we'll discuss later. So, ano nga ba ang DMAIC? DMAIC stand for Define, Measure, Analysis, Improve, and Control. It is a Six Sigma methodology used for improve existing process by finding and eliminating cause of defect or inefficiency. Ito pang step by step for the DMAIC. Number 1 is define. Identify the problem, goals, and custom requirements. Ang first step po is alamin po natin ang problema at saka po goals na kailanganin po ng customer. So, number 2 is measure. Collect data to understand the current process performance. Kailangan po natin manghalap ng mga measures para po malaman po natin yung mga kailanganin po natin sa paggagawa. And analysis. Find the root cause of problem or defect. Aalamin po natin kung saan po nagka-problema o kung saan po possible na magka-problema. This number 4 po is improve. Develop and implement solution to fix the problem. After po nating mahanap yung problema, ang susunod po is improve. Papahanap po tayo ng solution para po ma-solve po natin yung problema. Number 5 naman po is control. Maintain the improvements by monitoring the process regularly. Susunod naman po step natin is i-maintain po natin yung proseso by monitoring the process. Ang susunod na methodology naman po is DMADV method. DMADV method stands for Define, Measure, Analysis, Design, and Verify. It is a Six Sigma methodology used to create or design new product or process that meet the customer requirements and achieve high quality from the start. So, ang step by step naman po ng DMADV is number 1 is define. Gaya po ng sabi ko kanina, alamin po natin yung goals and project goals po and customers needs. Tapos number 2 naman po is measure. Determine critical quality factors, CTQs, and collect relevant data. Gaya din po ng sabi ko po kanina, maghahanap naman po tayo ng quality factors or CTQ. Sa number 3 naman po tayo is analysis. Develop and evaluate design alternatives based on data. After po nating malaman po yung measurement, magde-develop naman tayo, mag-evaluate ng design alternatives based on data. Tas number 4 naman po is design. Create detailed design for the process or product. After po nating ma-analysis, eto na po tayo is mag-create na po tayo ng ideal design para naman po sa process. Verify. Test and validate the design to ensure it meets proper and customer expectations. Ang number 5 naman po is verify. Tetestingin po natin yung naging resulta po ng ating design para po kung mamimit po nato ang expectation ng customer. We have example po dito ng Six Sigma. Example, reducing defect in a manufacturing process. Company, a car parts factory. Problem, 5% of brake produced are defective, too thin or too thick. Goal po is to reduce defect to less than 1 using Six Sigma. Step 1 po natin is problem. Too many defect brake pads. Ang goal po natin is to reduce defects from 5% to 1%. Ang team po natin is production manager, quality engineer, machine operator. Tapos po, ang customer impact po natin is effective paths, cost, safety issues, and delay. Number 2 naman po tayo is measure. Collect data for 1 month. And 10,000 pads to produce. Tapos po, ang 500 detect po natin dun is, ayun na lang po natin, 500 defective is equivalent to 5 defect rate. And identify key measures, pad ticks, and machine pressure. Number 3 naman po tayo is analysis. Found that machine B create most defect. Tapos, yung cost po is pressure settings vary due to worn out sensor. Tooth cost naman po is via fishbone diagram. Machine calibration issue. Ang pag-sector po natin is pag-improve. Replace and recalibrate machines B sensor. Standard the pressure and setting procedure. Tapos po is train operator on proper setup. Number 5 naman po is control. Create a daily calibration checklist. Continue to monitor defect weekly. And after 2 months, defect rate drop to 0.8. Ang magiging resulta po nun is defect reduced from 5% to 0.8%. Ang masave po nyo per month is 150,000 in wasted materials. And mag-improve production and customer satisfaction. So, ayun lang po ang Six Sigma.
So, hello there, my name is Trisani Isidro. I'm from BSc 3C, and I'm going to be discussing Pareto's principle. Its history mainly. So, first, the history of its name. So, the Pareto's principle is named after the Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto. So, in 1906, he observed that 80% of Italy's land is owned only by 20% of the people. So, he later found that this is applicable to businesses, society, and life. So, let's discuss what is Pareto's principle. Pareto's principle, also known as the 80-20 rule. It suggests that 80% of results come from 20% of causes. It is seen in many areas of businesses and life. It encourages focus on that vital few rather than the trivial many. So, how is it applicable to business? So, we have there an example of Pareto's principle in business. So, we have this 20% of workers produce 80% of the result. 20% of customers create 80% of their revenue. And 20% of products account for 80% of the sales. So, how is it applicable in society? So, we also have the examples over here. So, in society, 20% of criminals commit 80% of the crimes. 20% of beer drinkers drink 80% of beer in the world. 80% of pollution comes from 20% of factories, and 20% of students have grades of 80% or higher. So, enough of that. Let's have the examples of how is it applicable in life. So, in life, we have the examples over here. 20% of an average person's activity causes 80% of their progress. 80% of happiness comes from 20% of your friends. So, that's it. Time for the next presenter. Bye.
Pareto's Principle Analogy. If meron kang 20% na input, magkakaroon ka ng 80% na output. Yun yung tinatawag na vital few. For example, if yung 20% ng time mo inilalaan mo sa pag-review, magkakaroon ka ng 80% na outcome or mataas yung scores na makukuha mo. If meron ka namang 80% na input, magkakaroon ka ng 20% na output. Yun yung tinatawag na trivial many. For example, if yung 80% ng time mo inilalaan mo sa hindi mahalagang bagay na hindi makakatulong sa goal mo, maliit lang yung makukuha mong outcome or 20% lang yung mahalagang bagay na makukuha mo. In short, 20% input, 80% output or yung vital few, focus on what matters most. Trivial many, avoid wasting time and effort on less important things. Is it always 80-20? No. Yung ratios niya, pwede rin siya maging 85-15, 90-10, 70-30, etc. Always ba siyang 100 kapag pinag-add? Not always. Pwede rin siyang 85-20, 91-32, or iba pa. So, bakit nga ba siya tinawag na 80-20? Yung 80-20, symbolic lang siya. It represents imbalance between causes and results. So, ginamit lang yung 80-20 para ipakita na hindi pantay ang kontribusyon ng bawat bagay sa magiging resulta or sa outcomes na sa magiging outcome ng ginagawa mo. How can Pareto's principle be applied in business? So, i-apply natin yung Pareto's principle sa business na gagawin mo or ipapatayo mo. To increase revenue, under nito ay increase sales. So, kung makakapagbenta ka naman ng mas malaking profit ang babalik sa'yo. Negotiate better deals. So, syempre, business to. Dapat, maganda na nakikipag-negotiate ka sa mga suppliers mo. Cut excess overheads. Increase prices. So, kung kaya mo naman makapagbenta ng same amount of goods na may mas malaking prices, so, mas malaking ang profit or kita na babalik sa'yo. Focus on the vital few actions that bring the biggest results. Not everything is equally important. Prioritize effectively. So, dito, hindi nga siya lahat importante equally importante sa business mo. Dapat, mas i-prioritize mo yung magiging effective na outcome or yung sinasabi nga dito, mas i-eliminate mo yung waste and i-improve mo yung process ng business mo, which is i-follow mo yung Lean Six Sigma. Kung hindi natin gagamitin yung 80 rule ng tama, maaring mag-focus tayo sa hindi importante na bagay sa business natin. So, dun tayo malulugi and masasayang lang din yung oras, yung focus, and yun, oras at focus na inilaan mo sa pagbibusiness mo.
Good day everyone. So my name is Daniela Mariby Mata from BSEE 3C. So today we will be discussing about how the Pareto's principle can be applied in our daily lives and onting introduction na rin sa SWOT analysis. So let's start sa Pareto's principle or ang tinatawag nating 80-20 rule. Ibig sabihin nito, 80% ng result natin galing sa 20% lang na effort. So, kung alam natin kung saan ilalagay yung focus natin, mas marami tayong makukuha na results kahit mas konting efforts lang. Okay? So, Pareto's principle in our daily lives. So, una, social interaction. Sa social life natin, it teaches us to focus on the people who truly matters. So, sa application na to, ay spend more time 20% sa 20% na tao na nagbibigay ng 80% happiness, growth, or support sa'yo. Huwag masyadong maglaan ng energy sa toxic o draining relationships. Example, instead of replying to every messages, unahin mo yung meaningful conversations with close friends or mentors. So, ang magiging result nito, magkakaroon ka ng stronger connection, less burnout, at mas genuine interactions. So, susunod, dito naman tayo sa relationship. Sa relationship naman, na may apply yung Pareto's Principle, reminds us to focus on the action na talagang nakakapagpalakas ng bond. So, application, usually, 20% ng small but consistent action, gaya ng quality time, listening, at appreciation, ang nagdadala ng 80% satisfaction sa relationship. Example, so, magbigay ka ng 15 minutes na undistracted time araw-araw with your partner. Minsan, mas valuable pa kaysa one fancy date per month. Result, nagkakaroon ng deeper emotional connection at less misunderstanding. Kaya tandaan, hindi kailangan mang bonggang gestures. Madalas, yung small efforts araw-araw ang mas may impact. So, sa day-to-day activities na tayo. Wow. So, sa araw-araw na gawain, ang Pareto Principle ay nagsasabi na focus tayo sa 20% ng task na nagbibigay ng 80% ng result. So, application. Alamin kung ano yung mga most productive activities mo, tulad ng pagre-review ng key topics bago exam o pagplano ng araw mo sa gabi pa lang. Iwasan yung mga hindi importanteng details o sabay-sabay na ginagawa. Yung multitasking ba? So, example, kung i-review mo lang yung 20% ng notes mo sa nasakop na 80% na test, mas tipid sa oras at mas effective pa. So, result, mas organized ka sa oras, less stress, at mas productive kahit simple lang ang effort. So, doon nagtatapos yung ating Pareto's Principle na may apply natin sa daily lives natin. So, after knowing how the Pareto's Principle help us focus on what really matter, let's move on naman sa SWOT analysis. Isa ring helpful tool for planning and self-awareness. So, ano nga ba yung SWOT analysis? So, ang SWOT analysis ay isang strategic planning tool na ginagamit para makita kung ano ang internal at external factors na nakakaapekto sa success ng isang tao, business, or project. Tinutulungan din tayo nitong maintindihan kung nasan tayo ngayon, ano yung strengths natin, saan tayo mahina, at kung ano yung mga outside factors na makakatulong o makakasama sa atin. So, sa SWOT, ang S ay strengths, W is weakness, O is opportunities, and T is threats. So, ano naman ang purpose ng SWOT analysis? So, ang goal ng SWOT analysis ay tulungan tayong ma-identify kung nasan tayo ngayon, ma-maximize ang strengths and opportunities, ma-minimize yung weakness at maging handa at sa threats. At syempre, makagawa ng smart plan for improvement and success. In short, ginagamit ang SWOT para makagawa ng better and smarter decisions. So, meron tayong two main types of factors. So, meron tayong internal factors. So, nakapaloob dito ang strength and weaknesses. So, ito yung mga bagay na nasa control mo tulad ng skills, resources, or strategy. And next na category is yung external factors. Ito naman yung opportunities and threats. Ito naman yung mga bagay na wala sa control mo, gaya ng economy, technology, o competition. So, i-discuss naman natin yung kung ano ba yung strength. yung internal positive factors. Ibig sabihin ito yung mga qualities or resources na nagpapa-stand out sa'yo o sa business mo. Example, a strong brand reputation, skilled employees, loyal customers, good financial standing. So, sa personal example naman, I'm good at public speaking, kaya madali ako nakaka-perform sa class reports. So, ang tip dito is, focus sa strengths mo, sila ang edge mo sa iba. Next is yung weakness. Ito na may internal negative factor. Ibig sabihin ito naman yung mga areas na kailangan mo pang i-improve o yung naglalagay sa'yo ng disadvantage. So, example nito, poor time management, lack training, weak marketing strategy, and low motivation. Personal example naman, mabilis akong ma-distract habang nag-aaral, kaya minsan bumababa productivity ko. Tip, be honest about your weakness para maagapan at ma-improve agad. So, in conclusion, both Pareto and SWOT analysis teach us one thing, to be intentional, matutong mag-focus sa importanteng 20% at kilalanin kung saan ka malakas at mahina para maka-improve ka. Kapag ginamit natin to sa daily life, magiging productive, less stress, at mas successful tayo in school, in relationship, and in life. Thank you, and that's all.
So, hello there, my name is Tristan A. Isidra, and I am going to continue the discussion of Miss Daniela about the purpose of SWOT analysis and the two types of factors. So, number 3, the opportunities, external positive factors. These are the external chances to grow, improve, or achieve success. Examples are emerging markets, technological innovations, scholarships or new learning platforms, and social media exposure. So, personal examples are there are free online courses I can take to improve my study skills. Number 4, threats. These are the external negative factors. This is outside challenges or risks that could harm your success or stability. Examples of these are new competitors, economic downturns, rising costs of materials, changes in government policy, etc. So, personal example of this is there's a lot of competition for jobs after graduations. So, we have here an example of SWOT analysis of a small coffee shop. So, the strengths of this business is it has an high quality coffee, friendly staff, cozy ambience. And the weaknesses of this is limited seating, slow service during peak hours, etc. Opportunities. We have the partnering with delivery apps like Grab or Foodpanda, or we could join with the growing cafe culture. The threats, competition from large chains like Starbucks, Coffee Breaks, But First Coffee, etc. And the rising coffee beans surface. So, that's it. Thanks.
Another example for SWOT analysis as a student, itong SWOT analysis makakatulong to sa students sa akin para malaman kung saan nga ba ako magaling, ano pa yung mga challenges na kailangan kong harapin, and ano pa yung mga kailangan kong i-improve. SWOT, which means strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Under ng strengths na mararanasan mo as a student is confident ka during presentations, organize yung notes mo, And pwede natin i-add yung kaya mong i-manage yung time mo. Weaknesses, procrastinations, sometimes overthinks assignments, or mga scores mo sa quizzes or exams, and difficulty focusing on your subjects or lessons. Opportunities, access to free online tutorials, supportive classmates, or may mga kaibigan ka, pwede kayong mag-form ng study group, mga teachers mo na pwede mong mapagtanungan about sa lessons. Threats, heavy academic workload, distraction from social media. Pwede rin nating add lack of sleep. So yun, di ka masyadong nakakatulog kasi nga masyado ka nang nakakapag-focus sa pag-aaral mo. So by using online resources or forming study group, students can improve their time management and handle deadlines better. How to conduct a SWOT analysis? We have 5 steps. First, gather your team or reflect individually. Second, list your strengths and weaknesses honestly. Third, research external trends for opportunities and threats. Fourth, prioritize the most important items. And last, create an action plan based on your findings. Turning SWOT into action. After identifying the 4 factors, use these strategies. So, meron tayong 4 strategies para gawin to. Strength opportunity, weakness opportunity, strength threat, and weakness threat. First, strength opportunity. Use strengths to take advantage of opportunities. So, example, use your good study habits to make the most out of online learning. Weakness opportunity. Use opportunities to overcome weaknesses. Example, take online tutorials to improve subjects you find difficult. So, yung mga nahihirapan kang subject, pwede kang maghanap ng mga free online tutorials sa YouTube or Google. Marami tayong mga free online tutorials diyan na makikita. Strength threat. Use strength to avoid threats. Use your time management skills to handle a busy academic schedule. So, yung time management skills mo, gamitin mo siya para ma-handle mo yung mga academic schedule mo. Para hindi sila magsabay-sabay, para kunwari may mga quizzes ka na nagsabay-sabay, dapat makapag-advance study ka na. Last, weakness threat. Minimize weaknesses and avoid threats. Limit phone use while studying to reduce procrastination. So, pwede ka mag-set ng screen time sa phone mo para malimit mo at maiwasan yung procrastination, para unahin mo muna yung mga assignments, mga deadlines na kailangan mong ipasa or ma-meet. Next natin is tips for an effective SWOT analysis. Be specific, avoid vague statements, use data or real observations when possible, involve others' perspective for accuracy, update SWOT regularly as situation change, focus on 3 to 5 key items per category. So yun, para maging effective yung SWOT analysis natin, gamitin natin itong 5 na nabanggit. So meron din tayong key takeaways. SWOT helps you analyze, plan, and make better decisions. It's useful for businesses, students, or anyone setting goals. Always leverage your strengths and opportunities. Work on weaknesses and prepare for threats. In summary, SWOT analysis is a powerful tool. Makakatulong to para maging successful yung ginagawa natin. It allows us to analyze our performance, mag-set goals, and mag-create ng action plan. SWOT analysis teaches us that success is not just all about what we have, but also knowing how to use it wisely.